Woof.
Okay, so this is the new dev blog that came out today, actually, right? Yeah, came out today, December 20th at 10 a.m. on changes to test ships. This is for the 12.11 and 13.0 closed testing. So let's see what happened. This should be relatively short and sweet unless I run into some kind of a thing that needs to be expounded upon more. But Wargaming is saying based on testing results, they're applying changes to Independence, TIANJIN, Sicilia, Monmouth, Rhode Island, MINEGUMO, and Jupiter 42. Now, some of these I don't remember exactly what they are. Some of them I do. I've pretty much forgotten what the MINEGUMO is to an extent, but maybe we'll be reminded when we see it. So let's start out. The following changes will go live on Thursday, December 21st. Okay, so they're going to give us a list of some changes that go live tomorrow, and then some changes that go live in update 13.0. Okay, I see what's going on now. As always, this is a cold read for me. I've only seen the title. I just know that they're making changes to test ships. I'm reading this for the first time. If you haven't seen it, I'm just as cold reading this as you are. So this is going to be off-the-cuff comments. There may be errors or mistakes in what I say. And if there is, by all means, feel free to correct me in chat. So here we go. Starting off with the Tier 6 Independence. And these are the changes that will go live tomorrow on December 21st. The Tier 6 Independence, that's one of the, is that the U.S. support carriers? Stock and researchable torpedo bomb damage was changed. Now notice they say it was changed and not increased or reduced. That's an interesting choice of words. 4367 to 3767. So they have reduced the torpedo damage pretty significantly by 600. That's like 15%. That's close to 15%. Wow. That is shocking. This is yet recently they nerfed some of the carriers, and I'm shocked to see that they have nerfed this carrier. I'm not sure what's going on. This isn't normal. One of our last streams that one of the last dev blogs that we covered on changes to ships was, I think there was maybe one or two surface ships and some carriers, and I just made the statement at the beginning, since I hadn't seen it, that it'll be usual, they'll buff the carriers and nerf the surface ships. It turned out to be the opposite. So wow, okay, great deal. So a nerf to the torpedo damage on the Tier 6 American carrier Independence. Tier 9, the TIANJIN. This is the Pan-Asian cruiser that's like a Riga, if I understand. This is kind of like a Riga. And it has this, it has the dead-eye spotter plane, so the high-precision spotter plane. So let's see. It looks like they are altering the parameters of the high-precision spotter plane. Action time reduced from 55 to 30 seconds. That's like, wow, they're almost cutting that in half. Not quite. They're taking probably what, 45% off of that, something almost 50% off of that. Okay, so that means, based on what I know about the reload of this, that means you're going to probably get, if you pop your spotter plane and you immediately fire, then you may get 3 total salvos off of this, because I will say this thing's got a reload upwards of what, 12-ish seconds. I'm not 100% sure, but it'll be in that range. So at best, you'll get 3 salvos while the spotter is up. Number of charges increased, okay, from 3 to 5, and the reload time reduced. So, okay, I see what they've done. They made it so they big time nerfed the action time, and then they buffed the reload time, cut that in half. So they're saying, okay, it's lasts half as long, but we'll let you get it twice as often. That's what they're saying. And we'll give you a couple more charges. We'll give you 2/3 more charges. So, okay, that's almost like a built-in eye in the sky in a way. They're almost building eye in the sky. So imagine building eye in the sky on top of that. You'll now cut this down to a 50-second reload, assuming you're allowed to stack that on this ship. So you'll get 6 charges and a 50-second reload on this. So eye in the sky will be paramount to run on this ship. A lot of these cruisers like this, since they buff the eye in the sky skill, that is a skill you really need on a lot of these cruisers that have these spotter planes. Whether it's the high precision or just a regular spotter, it's a big improvement for some of them. So next up is the Tier 10 Sicilia. Now I saw one of these the other day in a game. It didn't last long, so didn't get to see what it could do. But if I remember right, the Sicilia is the Christopher Colombo version with SAP secondaries. So it's kind of like a SAP secondary version of the Christopher Colombo, if I'm remembering right. So what are they doing to it? The Sigma parameter is increasing from 1.5 to 1.6, so the guns are getting more accuracy. Firing angles for the aft turrets increased by 10 degrees, so they're giving you, if I understand what they mean by increased, they're giving you more firing angles, so that means it should be a better firing angle if I'm interpreting that right. So hopefully, yeah, wow. And what's up, Fletch? Good to see you. What is up next? Monmouth. The Monmouth is it's a Tier 10 British cruiser, obviously. It's undergone some like major rework changes recently. It like was announced and then shelved for a bunch of months. I just thought it went away, or either they just forgot about it or abandoned it, but they came back to it. I don't know enough or don't remember enough about all the particulars of this ship to compare it to something, but I do remember I think this is an AP only, and when they last did something with it, I think they smashed, really cut down the repair party consumable. I think we may have to look that up and see if I can find the last see if I can find where they last did something to this. Where's the last changes something where they changed the Monmouth? Can we find that? Early access, clan battles. Here we go. Let's bring this one up real quick. All right. Here's the last time, whenever what they did to the Monmouth. This was back on November 15th. So they took the main battery and reduced the reload time from 18.5 to 15.5 seconds. I don't even know how many guns and what size this thing has. So the firing range was increased from 16.9 to 19.8. So they gave it faster reload and a lot more range, but they took away its HE, so it's AP only. The fact that it is longer reload time, like 15, tells me it's probably not a Mino clone. It's probably I would guess it's 203s without having to look it up. Let's see if it's in ship tool. Let's see if it's in ship tool. Because I want to, yeah, it's in ship tool. So what is this thing? This thing has 234s. So actually, this is a AP only Goliath, more or less, is what this is. So AP only Goliath is what this change turned that into. And they also, so in addition to giving it more range and more DPM, but removing the HE, they also increased the AP shell damage, so yet more increase. They reduced the arming threshold. They improved the ricochet angles. They improved the shell pin, and then gave the shells a flatter trajectory. They also reduced the armor, the deck armor on the ship from 40 to 30. I mean, 40 is pretty damn good deck armor for a Tier 10 cruiser. But they did all of that. But here's where they smashed the repair party. They basically increased the action time by, what, 40%, I guess, and gave you an extra charge, but they cut it down. It was basically a super heal, but they cut it like in what, fourth of what amount it would heal. So that's what they did to this previously. So now what I see they're doing, and this is back to today's DevBlog, it looks like they're putting it back. So basically they went back to 1188. That's exactly where they had changed it from. They went from back from 28 to 20 and went back from 3 to 2 charges. So yeah, they basically went back to exactly where the heal was before. So that it now has a super heal. Let's see what they're doing. Restoration of hit points after receiving damage to parts of the hull increased from 50 to 60, and restoration after Citadel. So they increased the Citadel healing and hull damage healing capabilities. So wow, they went back and actually not only gave it the heal back, but buffed it a little bit over and above the regular super heal. So apparently the changes they made to the regular heal just didn't cut it. So I'm guessing this thing must be a lot more squishy than the Goliath, because Goliath has some weird stuff going on with the armor and actually does pretty good kiting and tanking shells. So this is interesting. So Monmouth then is a long-range AP-only Goliath. So there you go. And lastly, the Rhode Island. This is the Tier 10 American battleship with the 356 millimeter guns. I think, trying to remember if it had 12 of them or 16 of them is what I'm trying to remember. Let's take a quick look. It has, 3x4. So it has 3 quad turrets. So kind of like the Florida or the Flow Rider. But they're 356s with improved fire chances and things like that. So that's what the Rhode Island is. And it looks like they basically buffed its concealment by, wow. Help. No, actually, you know what? I'm wrong. I am wrong. It's not 13th. That's where it's sitting now at 16.4. When it goes down to 15.2, its concealment will now be equal to Conqueror and Thunder and the Gregorio Delaria. It'll basically be equal to those 3. So no, it's going to become like tied for 3rd. So you're going to have a top tier concealment on a battleship. So that's what that's for. Okay. Now the last things are changes that will go live on the 13.0 update. We've got the British Jupiter 42, which is similar to, was it Jervis at Tier 7? It's similar to a Jervis. Let's see what we got on this thing. Parameters of the main battery changed. They removed the HE shells. Interesting. Increased the main battery reload time by half a second. That's like more than a 10%. That's like 12% nerf. Nerfed the AP shell damage. Gave it flatter arcs and decreased the AP pin. Was this thing just mauling the crap out of stuff with its AP or something? Holy free holies. Parameters of the torp tubes were changed. Torpedo damage increased from, call it 12,000 to over 18,000. A 50% buff on torp damage. But look at this. They decreased the range to 7 kilometers, which is similar to its Tier 7 counterpart, where your ability to stealth torp is next to nothing. You may have like what is it, a 300 window? But now we see, all right, and the torpedo tube reload time. So they gave it a big nerf to the reload time, big buff to the damage. So the damage output probably is going to remain similar. But the alpha strike potential is a lot better. They reduced the range, so they nerfed that. But they're giving it a buff to concealment down to 6.3 kilometers. What the hell? 6.3 at Tier 7? Okay, hold on. That's going to make the concealment of this thing equal to Haida. That's the best concealment at Tier 7. So they're saying they're going to give you, that's going to be like was it a 5.5 when you outfit it completely, I think? Or 5.7, maybe it's 5.7. I think it's 5.7. Something in that range. 5.7 kilometer conceal. So they're going to give you basically what they're doing, they're kind of turning from a torp range versus concealment. They're kind of turning this thing into like the Minekaze, kamikaze type play style. You just have a much longer torp reload. So that's interesting. Okay. Next up is MINEGUMO. Torpedo reload time increased from 90 to 100 seconds. I don't know what the MINEGUMO is. Let's see if it's on our list here. Okay, there's MINEGUMO. What is the MINEGUMO? Let's compare it. Actually, let's compare it to the Japanese line to see what it's like. The MINEGUMO. So it's kind of like the Yugumo, slightly worse guns. Oh, okay. I remember MINEGUMO has the alternate torpedoes. You can select between torpedo types, and you have like a 6.5 range torpedo or a 15 kilometer range torpedo that you can select between. That's kind of interesting. So, the short range, really fast torps or the longer range, slower torps. That longer range, slower torp, is a lot like the old Tier 7 torps that they had on Udachi. It's like the torps that were on Udachi before it got buffed. So that's kind of interesting. And so it just increased its reload time from 90 to 100 seconds. Okay, so that's across both torpedoes. Okay. Next up is TIANJIN. We mentioned that. TIANJIN is like a Pan-Asian Tier 9 cruiser that's similar to Riga, but with the Deadeye spotter plane. So main battery reload time reduced. Okay, they're reducing the main battery reload from 17 to 14. So, okay, and they were already making a change here to change how the high precision spotter would work. So yeah, the way that spotter works with a 17-second reload, you only get 2 salvos. By getting you down to 14 seconds, if you pop your plane and get an immediate salvo off, you have a chance to get 2 more salvos before the plane goes away. And actually, if this is a base reload, you'll have that down below 14 anyway. The number of charges of fast damage control consumable is no longer limited. So they now don't have that Russian fast damage control. Other parameters such as reload duration to fast damage control team were not changed. Okay. And then another change to Rhode Island, the main battery reload time reduced from 24 to 22 seconds. on 12 356s. So is Rhode Island going to end up being similar to the Marlborough, but at tier 10? Is that really what it's going to be? If it's got some armor on it, that might be all right. If it's got better armor than the Marlborough. But that's kind of the direction it looks like they're going there. Only the Marlborough's got like 16 guns. So, yeah. Well, that's it for the DevBlog. Came out today on December 20th, 2023. Quick recap. Changes that will go live in update 13.0 are main battery buff to Rhode Island, main battery reload buff to TIANJIN, and a buff to the fast damage control consumable, a torpedo reload nerf to the MINEGUMO, and big changes to Jupiter 42. Basically, nerfs to the guns, buffs to the alpha strike of the torpedoes, but nerfs to the range and reload. But then they reward that with a huge buff to the concealment, making it the best, equal to the best concealed DD at tier 7. Then changes that go live tomorrow on Thursday the 21st. Again, the Rhode Island with a big concealment buff, making it near the top in concealment for tier 10 battleships. The restoration, shall we say, of the super heal to the Monmouth, which is the AP like an AP only. What was it we say? An AP only Goliath, similar to that. An improvement to the Sigma on the Sicilia guns and the firing angles. On the TIANJIN again, the changes to the high precision spotter, where they reduced the action time and the reload time and gave you more charges. So basically, you get it twice as much, but it acts for half as much. So it's about a wash on that. And lastly, the Independence gets a nerf to the torpedo damage. So there you go. That's the quick lowdown on this. Hope you enjoyed the coverage of that DevBlog. And now that we're done, it's time to get on to World of Warships and see if we can start playing a little. So let's do that. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to receive notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.